It's Ohio State Wednesday here on Mark Rogers TV, breaking down the Buckeyes position by position, getting you set for spring practice. We're talking trench warfare here, the offensive and defensive lines with Brandon Zimmerman from the Buckeye Battle Cry. Brandon, it's always a pleasure. Let's dive into this offensive front that gained much criticism, rightfully so, in spots against some of the better teams last season. Jamarco Jones obviously had an outstanding year. Billy Price, first-team All-America, has to move from guard to center. Just your thoughts about the offensive line at first glance and what we can expect and some of the sore spots that need to be shored up.
Well, the Slobs, as the Buckeyes like to call them, did take a lot of heat last year. At times, they looked so good. At times, they looked pretty darn rough, but that's kind of to be had with young lines. Really, they were led by Elfline last year. The center was the senior. You had Billy Price at right guard, but outside of those two, there was really no one that had any significant playing time. So you had Jamarco Jones starting out there at left tackle for the first time. You had a true freshman in Michael Jordan starting at left guard, and then you had Isaiah Prince starting at right tackle. So you had three guys playing really for the first time. So it was kind of expected to have your high points and your very low points. High points are really the game against the Sooners when the Buckeye offense looked unstoppable against a very good Big 12 team. Low points had to be Penn State game where it seemed like every time JT Barrett dropped back, that Penn State defensive line and linebacking crew was in the backfield. So a lot of growing pains, which should lead to a little more success this year. Really only one spot open this year, right guard, where Billy Price, like you mentioned, is moving from right guard over to center. Numerous guys out there at right guard who could jump into the mix. You've got Malcolm Pridgeon, who was a five-star offensive tackle, JUCO transfer last year, who was hurt during fall practice and missed the entire season. So Pridgeon's going to factor in at either right guard or right tackle, moving Isaiah Prince into guard. Outside of those two, who I think are the main two people battling for right guard and right tackle, I think those two will probably start, depending on where they start is up to them. But you've also got Demetrius Knox, who is a highly regarded guard coming out of high school. Matthew Burrell, Wyatt Davis, who was a five-star guard coming out this year. Joshua Myers, who was a five-star tackle coming out this year. So those two are true freshmen. Michael Jordan proved that true freshman can play, but it is kind of rare for a true freshman to come in and start on the offensive line right away. Urban Meyer's had great things to say about Joshua Myers, just, smarts wise, strength wise, he may actually work his way in and we may get 2 years straight of a true freshman starting on the line. But I think really, barring anyone getting hurt, it's going to come down to Isaiah Prince and Malcolm Pridgeon for that right guard and right tackle spot.
Yeah, Brandon, I've got to think that it would be a significant upset if this team on the offensive front doesn't improve significantly, because you've got experience across the board. Let's take out the two high recruits just for a second and just look at everybody coming back, and you've got a couple seniors that have significant playing time, and of course Billy Price, one of the best in the business, at least at guard. He's got to make that transition, but should be capable of doing so. Jamarco Jones gained second team all Big Ten status, and then Isaiah Prince and Michael Jordan, as you well know, they were the targets of most of the issues along the offensive front. But now we got Jordan with 1 full year under his belt. He has seen the best up front in Michigan and Clemson in particular. Isaiah Prince, now a junior, should be significantly improved. And that doesn't count the two studs. So you got Wyatt Davis, you got Josh Myers, possibly the two best guards in the country in high school football coming to the Buckeyes. So I would think that if either one of those guys gets significant playing time, they will have earned it. It won't be a situation where, wow, we've got to play them because we're this bad, that they truly earned some playing time, because this line should be solid.
Yeah, I mean, last year should have been the all of the growing pains for it. this year it should be a well-oiled machine. There's really no reason why the offense should not take significant steps forward. We had talked about Barrett. I talked about Weber. Both of them coming back. The wide receivers, Kevin Wilson, the offensive line coming back into their second real season as being starters. The offense should improve quite a bit, and hopefully it doesn't struggle as much as it did last year there at times against the really good teams, like you mentioned, the Penn States, the Michigans, the Clemsons.
Yeah, it's a part of the football team that doesn't get enough respect, doesn't get enough talk. Nobody knows the individual players on the field. They don't. Even the announcers during the games don't even talk about the line play unless somebody does something really bad, and talk about them as individuals. It's like, well, the offensive line had a good game or didn't have a good game. So definitely this is where it starts for any offense. You got to have those guys that can move people along the line, that can protect the quarterback, and hopefully Ohio State has it coming up here in 2017. Brandon Zimmerman from the Buckeye Battle Cry breaking down the Buckeyes offensive front for this fall. Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Thanks, Mark.